In the previous video on this 52 Champion 600, I was mostly just rambling about the channel while I changed out the speaker, but now it's all changed out. You can see the tear in the cone of the old speaker there, a little puncture it got. This speaker is not really worth reconing. It's not that fantastic sounding a speaker. The one that's in there is, so I will put this in the box the new one came in and return it with the amp. And let's slide this back in place. I had some concerns that one or more tubes were slightly microphonic, just barely clearing this larger ceramic speaker, but we are clearing it, so that's good. But the speaker was making so much noise, I couldn't really hear what might be tube rattle. Could be the 6SJ7, could be the 6V6. Let me hook this up and let's listen to it if I need to change a tube. I've got a big stash of 6V6 pulls. I can probably find something groovy to go in here. If it's the preamp tube, I can get a new one in about an hour because I live in the same town as Tube Depot, which is very handy for our purposes. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I discovered two things. First of all, that the existing 6SJ7 was the source of that ringing out. It was microphonic and had a little bit of a staticky sound. So I ran to my buddies at Tube Depot and I got a tongue saw and a Sylvania. We're going to pop each one in and see which one sounds better. The other one I'll return to Tube Depot. Or they may be both good, in which case I may hang on to one to have a good 6SL7 in my stash. The other thing I discovered is that the wood where the two screws that hold the chassis to the cab go is just crumbly and not reliable. So I'm going to see if I can use a longer screw or the next size up, or whether I need to get in there with some epoxy or whatever and make that cab accept a screw. So I'm going to put these tubes in, but the chassis itself will have a little bit of vibration because those screws are still not secured. So it may have a little bit of a ring. Any Pintoed tube like these or an EF86 can be a little bit ringy, a little bit microphonic. The goal is to find one that's not too microphonic for use. So of the two preamp tubes I got, the Sylvania and the tongue saw was too noisy, too microphonic to be of use. So it's got the Sylvania in there. It doesn't have any microphonics, which is great. So once the hole in the old speaker noise went away with the new speaker and the rattle from that 6SJ7 went away, then I could hear just a background fuzziness that was coming and going. Turned out to be the old RCA 6V6. It was hard to hear because it was masked by the noises from the bad speaker and the bad preamp tube. I happen to have an old single Sylvania 6V6 that's of no use in a Princeton, etc., because it's only one of them. So it's in here. I think the owner will be very happy. I've got it turned up. I'm going to turn it up just enough that we don't hear the buzz. There's a bit of a buzz to this circuit in stock form because it was a budget model. And one side of the heaters is the filament tap. The other side is just ground. It is not balanced. And that results in a spiky buzz being picked up by everything. It's only audible at the loudest settings. Leo never expected us to use it at the loudest settings. So here's how it sounds right before you hear that. You can hear it doesn't have a lot of low end. The circuit actually does, the 8-inch speaker does not. And believe it or not, this G8C has more low end than a lot of 8-inch speakers, but this little tiny cab works against that too. And it's not just the speaker that determines the low end you have, it's the volume of air inside a cabinet and a whole bunch of other stuff. In a larger 1x8 cabinet, you might have more low end, but there aren't a lot of larger 1x8 cabinets because it's not really a serious choice for most players. But for use with harmonica, as this guy is going to use it, it can be quite nice because it's band limiting. It doesn't have a lot over about 3K, it doesn't have much, in this case, below about, I'd say 400 hertz, but you're going to sit there right in the middle. If I push this with these humbuckers, it'll get a little bit more in the range of what you might get from a harmonica, but we're going to hear a bit of that buzz come in. So I'll play around with the tone circuit as well. sound like that song. It sounds like Bring It On Home a little bit. Just a little bit. I haven't played that in years. Where does he hit the major? Major, sorry. Like I said, I haven't played that for years, but you know. There's that cool honky thing right there with the tone roll back on the bridge pickup. That's also the area where a Shure bullet mic with a harmonica earns its keep with these things. Is why people love them. If I switch to a Strat, same settings. I've forgotten how to play that Dale Hawkins stuff. Anyway, that stuff, the Suzy Q stuff, sounds good on this, even though I apparently have forgotten how to play today. There are days when I spaz out. Sorry. And while it's very small in the room, on playback this can be made to sound massive. If I roll the volume down to where Fender expected you to play it, though Leo didn't actually expect you to play electric guitar through this. This came out in '48. He did not have an electric guitar to sell you yet. It's really low volume. It can be made to sound great on playback, but I imagine his intent was someone would have a lap steel, and this would be loud enough for you to hear the lap steel while someone else plays acoustic. But I don't have a lap steel, and I don't have an early broadcaster strung with 12-wound flats, you know. So I cannot really give you the sound Leo was going for. And there's no tone knob on the amp, so use it on the guitar. Anyway, I think that's enough on this. I'm certainly sucking on my playing. Today I need to repair the wood damage where the two screws go that hold the chassis to the cab. There is no more wood remaining. I need to see if a longer screw will grab wood, if the next diameter up will grab wood, or whether I need to fill those holes with some epoxy or something. That's not very interesting stuff, and it's stuff I do all the time, no big deal.